Well, welcome everybody who is here with us tonight live, and welcome to anyone watching the replay. My name is Bobbi McGrath, and I am here with Heather Sunderland. And we wanted to welcome you to Why Your Gut Health Matters. Because what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut, and you will learn a lot about your gut tonight and a lot about the environment and how it impacts your gut and symptoms and what you shouldn't ignore. We'll give you some tips. But we're going to get moving, and hopefully everybody can find their chat, because we are going to ask a couple questions just about your symptoms and things like that. And we want to first off welcome you and tell you that we're really, really glad that you're here and that you are in the right place. Heather and I don't believe in coincidences, and we believe that you are here for a reason. We're excited that anyone seeking better health is joining us. And if you're watching on the replay, you also are in the right place. So thank you for joining us. We've got about 45 slides tonight, and we will have questions and Q&A afterwards. So um, please make yourself comfortable, find something to drink and a notepad or paper or something to write, or write your notes down on your computer or something like that. Before we get started, we thought we would show you who we are, because we don't always know all the people that come to our webinars. But feel free to take a screenshot of this. This is our Connect information. I am on the right-hand side. My name is Bobbi McGrath, and Heather is on the left-hand side. We both have our own private businesses as health coaches. And then we banded together last year to create a company called Navigating Mold and SIRS. And we'll tell you a little bit more about why that's the name of it. But we have our individual websites. Heather's got Health Coaching by Heather, and I've got B for You Health Coaching. And you can take that, and you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I will let Heather introduce herself after she does
I'm
the disclaimer.
hi, I'm Heather Sunderland. I'm really glad you guys are here. We want to start with a little disclaimer. This talk is for educational purposes only, and this information isn't meant to be prescriptive. We don't have your whole health history. So any decisions you make based on this information, check with your healthcare practitioner, and any choices you make are your sole responsibility. But we hope you really enjoy what we have for you tonight. We're going to dive into the information. So, we want to talk about just how widespread the problem of gut health is. And 2 out of 3 adults in the US have ongoing digestive issues like constipation, bloating, gas, and different labels like colitis, Crohn's, irritable bowel. 1 to 3 people have persistent gut problems and they don't seek help. Um, 70 plus million people suffer from gastrointestinal diseases like Crohn's, colitis, inflammatory bowel diseases. And 40% say troubles disrupt their daily lives. That's a pretty high number. Um, 51% think bloating, gas, and discomfort are just normal. But we're here to tell you it's not normal. It's a sign that something's going on.
So the industry that surrounds gut health in general is booming, because unfortunately a lot of people are suffering, as Heather just showed you by the statistics. And the US digestive health product market is hitting at 2 years ago, $13 billion, and the global hit over $105 billion. That should, or will be hitting 105 in 2033. That should give you a pretty good indication that we are honestly moving in the wrong direction. And then supplements alone are projected to reach 22 billion in 2030. So it is not an industry that's going to be dying out very soon, I don't believe. So why does this matter? We are not going to just talk about digestion today, because gut health is not just about digestion. Gut health is the foundation of your health, and you're going to learn a little bit more about that as we go through. But it also is where immunity lies in your system. It's also where energy is produced. Your gut is where your energy is produced, and a lot of your mood is regulated with inside your gut health or your gut. And your long-term health, someone who has poor gut health is probably going to struggle with their long-term health. And the vice versa is true, is that if you have strong, healthy gut health, you have a better projected life expectancy and a much more fulfilled life. And when your gut is out of balance, your body definitely feels it. I'm sure we've all felt that when we've overindulged or at Christmas time or things like after Thanksgiving when you maybe eaten a lot of things you're just not used to. So real quick, we just want to tell you who we are in case we have not, you have not been in our world and we haven't been in yours. My name is Bobbi McGrath. I am a certified regenerative health coach and a practitioner, and I have a master's in exercise physiology and behavioral change. And I'm married to my college sweetheart, Tim, and we have two sons and a daughter. My health story is that I helped myself identify and restore my health from mold toxicity, PTSD. There was some Lyme co-infections in there and some other labels that I no longer have using the regenerative approach. But my why is really why we put this webinar and our course together, that Navigating Mold and SIRS, was just to let people know that living in this modern world, we can no longer just kind of glide through our day. We have to be more aware of toxins. We have to be more aware of the fact that we have to work on toxins in our body and also reducing them and finding ways to restore our health and our gut lining. And we want people to understand that there's a lot of people out there suffering, and if we can help them put the connect the dots, the suffering can get much less and caught sooner, and we can help people regenerate from the inside out, like Heather and I have. I'll let Heather tell you a little bit about herself.
So my name's Heather Sunderland, and I'm a board certified functional health coach, previously a dietitian and a diabetic educator. I am married and I have one adult son. And I basically had 22 years of undiagnosed Lyme disease and co-infections and a lifetime of mold exposure. So I was pretty sick when Bobby and I met. And I want to give people hope that they can get better because after 28 years of illness and disability, I did restore my health from SIBO and a whole long list of 20 ailments. And I want people to know that they can move the needle in their health a lot quicker than I did. So put a one in the comments if you are struggling with digestive symptoms like chronic bloating, irregular bowel movements, diarrhea, constipation, food intolerances. Are you getting cramping or digestive discomfort after eating? Are you struggling with symptoms like chronic fatigue, brain fog? Are you having anxiety or depression? Are you struggling with your sleep?
Are you struggling metabolically, meaning you have metabolic symptoms like intense sugar cravings, or maybe you have weight changes? Maybe you've gained weight really quickly and not really sure how. Potentially, you haven't even changed your diet. Or maybe you've lost weight and you're not really sure how. Maybe you have blood sugar instability that you're just kind of starting to figure out that that's what it is, or maybe you aren't even realizing it, that you are struggling with your blood sugar. Could it be that you have some inflammatory processes that have been going on for a really long time, like this person here who has rosacea? That's the red mask that's on her face, on her nose, and her cheeks. That's from severe gut injury. And maybe you struggle with frequent infections that you just really don't get over quickly. And other skin things like eczema or acne or psoriasis. Maybe joint pain is in your house. I know it was for me, and that was one of the things that really drove me after I was exposed to mold and I started having severe joint pain. I'm like, this is just not normal. I need to go find out what's going on. Or maybe it's allergies and sensitivities to just pretty much everything. Many people accept digestive issues as being normal. But unfortunately, your gut is trying to tell you, or fortunately, I should say, tell you something important. But the real big question is, are you really listening to your gut? Are you ignoring it? Are you suppressing it? Are you kind of taking a pill to make it go away?
Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, you're definitely in the right place. And we're going to dive into our education on gut health. And some of the things we're going to be covering are what is the microbiome actually? What influences the health of the microbiome? What hidden toxins are negatively impacting the gut? What health impact of ignoring these gut symptoms? And what are some simple solutions to improve your gut health? So, the human microbiome is a complex system that actually has more bacterial cells than human cells in the body. And it is made up of bacteria, fungus, virus, parasites, um, and we need these to be in balance. Okay. We don't want a microbiome that has no bacteria, fungi, viruses, or parasites because they actually do play an important role in the body, but they should be there in low levels. Bacteria can help us digest our food, viruses help keep bad bacteria in check, parasites mop up heavy metals. So, all of these things have a purpose in the body, but when things get out of balance, just like a garden where the weeds sort of take over, that's what we don't want to see happen in our gut. And the gut microbiome is the mouth to the anus. We have other microbiomes in the body. Our skin has a microbiome, our mouth has a microbiome, just to name a few. So, the hidden connection, your gut controls so much more than you think. It's not just about digestion and processing the food you eat. It really is the control center behind your body's entire health. And when something is off in your gut, it really can negatively impact how you're feeling and how you can function. So the gut influences 70% of our immune system resides in our digestive tract. So if you take an antibiotic, it wipes out that microbiome. It can take a year to replenish that microbiome after an antibiotic. So really important thing to know. 90% of our serotonin production, which regulates our mood, it's our happy hormone, is produced in the gut. So when people have depression or anxiety, looking at the gut is really, really important. Looking at if there's dysbiosis, a pill is not going to correct that anxiety if the issue is the gut. And the gut has a major influence on our ability to maintain our weight, to deal with being energetic. The gut also influences our brain function and our mental clarity. You probably heard that there's this gut brain axis. And so the more our gut is healthy, the healthier our brain and our mental clarity, and the happier we're going to be. It also influences our hormone balance and our response to stress. If the gut lining is not doing well, that really can negatively impact us. And you saw those pictures that Bobby shared on skin health. When people have skin issues, rashes, eczema, dermatitis, part of the issue is usually dysbiosis in the gut. And as we improve the gut, our appearance on the outside is going to start to look healthier.
So, when you've got a healthy functioning gut microbiome, you're going to enjoy healthy digestion. So, the things that we mentioned earlier, like gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, eating foods that just potentially make you even itch, those things won't necessarily happen when you have a better, healthier microbiome. Stronger immunity, you're going to be able to bounce back faster from a cold or from a flu or a virus that attacks your system. You're going to be able to bounce back faster when you have a really balanced gut microbiome and a healthy gut, a balanced mood, and you're going to be not so craving, or you're maybe not going to be angry. A lot of people who have gut issues and especially liver congestion, things like that, they'll have anger issues. You're going to have clearer skin, and you're also going to be working with having better energy because you're going to be able to assimilate your food better and break it down better. And that's going to make it more possible for you to have better energy and quicker energy. So one of the things we want to bring on your radar tonight, and make sure you walk away with this, is that environmental toxins are a major hidden threat to your gut health. They're basically a lot of chemicals that have come into our world, especially starting into the 60s and 70s during the Industrial Revolution. And our body was not meant to handle that at the level that we're being exposed to it on a daily basis. And since the industrial revolution has exposed us to so much and it's basically exploded in our environment, our bodies just cannot keep up with it. And that includes the gut. So some common areas we want to put on your radar tonight that will help you realize where you need to kind of tune up your thought process and where you're possibly getting exposed are your indoor and outdoor air quality. So a lot of times people will think about outdoor air quality and they even have stats for that on like a weather app and stuff like that. Or if there's fires someplace, don't go outside when the air quality is bad, but they don't think about their indoor air quality. And a lot of our houses are made really tight now, and our indoor air quality just isn't healthy. And a lot of times people don't think about the fact that we spend so much time indoors now than maybe many, many years ago. Our food supply is impacted by environmental toxins. There's a lot of chemicals and preservatives and pesticides that have been introduced into our environment in the last 50 years. Our body care products have evolved to have a lot of chemicals that typically aren't the best for us. As soon as you rub something on your skin or shampoo your hair or spray that deodorant or anything that you're using topically on your skin, that's going to go right into your bloodstream and into your lungs and end up into your organs and your gut. The cleaning products you use, the same thing with that. There's a lot of cleaning products that have harmful odors in them or scents in them, especially the body care products have scents that are going to disrupt your endocrine system. Our water supply is definitely something I usually tell my clients when they say, what's the one thing I can start doing first thing right off the bat? And I say, filter your water the best you can afford, filter it however you can afford, do the research. And usually I'll give them information. Um, One thing that somebody maybe doesn't think about is relationships in your environment. You can actually have toxin reactions from just the relationships you have and daily stress from a very toxic relationship. Home products. So let's say you bring home a new rug, you get new carpet, you get a new car. All of those things have off gases that they're sending out. Using Teflon pans is not always the best way to be working with your health. And then chemicals outside, which we don't have a lot of control over, but we do have control over what we use in our own property. So, the modern gut crisis. Why is your gut under attack? Our modern lifestyle creates this perfect storm for dysfunction, and it's really leaving a lot of people wondering, what do I do? And the one thing we don't want you to do today is become overwhelmed by this information that we're going to be providing. We're trying to give you it in little nuggets that you can take home, but we want you to remember this one thing. You cannot control everything, but you can choose what matters most for your health, your peace of mind, and your energy. So, the best way we figured out to do this is to ask yourself these three questions when you go about thinking about swapping things out or changing things in your lifestyle. Is this something I'm exposed to daily or occasionally? And that really kind of puts weight on how much energy and effort and money you're going to put into changing that particular toxin or removing it. Do I have the ability to change, reduce, or replace this item or the thing that I'm doing, whether it's the body care product, my water, my carpet, things like that? And how much stress does thinking about this create for me? Because if you're a person that really is struggling with potentially ruminating on things or anxious, you're going to want to go at this very slow and tackle one thing at a time, maybe the easiest thing at a time. Don't go for the hardest thing at a time because we're not trying to create more stress. So really quick through this, toxins and pathogens, like Heather had gone over, viruses and bacteria and parasites and fungus, they impact our gut-brain communication access. So you see over there on the picture on the left, the gut and the brain communicate constantly through the vagus nerve, which comes down from the brain and innervates most of the organs in your gut. including your colon, your stomach, your pancreas, your kidneys, things like that, your liver, your gallbladder. There are 10 messages going up from the gut to the brain for every one message that comes down from the brain to the gut. So the reality is people usually talk about the gut as being the second brain, and that's really why, because it's communicating so much information, bacterial information, viral information to the brain. And then the vagus nerve, which is this nerve that I said innervates everything, when the autonomic nervous system, the vagus nerve is part of that, gets damaged by the bacteria, the toxins, the stress level, and things like that, you begin to have problems with the communication on the highway between your brain and your gut. And that's going to influence a lot of things that are going on in your gut. It's going to inflame your gut. It can cause your gut to be sluggish. That's where constipation can come in and slow digestion. It can reduce your motility, which is actually how your food moves through your gut. And some people have very slow motility and they get what they would say backed up or get constipation. And then it also can increase problems with having digestion efficiency, which is just how quickly can your body take something, break it down, and then begin to use it in the process of making your body either have repair or have energy. And then the third thing on here is called the migrating motor complex, and it's a super cool thing that your body actually does to clean itself. God created this cleaning complex in there. It's a cleaning wave. It's a rhythmic contraction that sweeps through and pulls through undigested food, bacteria and toxins through your intestines, and it happens in between your meals. So if you're a person or you know someone that just consistently grazes, their migrating motor complex isn't going to turn on too often because they're typically always eating. So it's a good idea to have some space in your day where you aren't eating and a good chunk of time from your dinner till your breakfast where your body has time to rest. And when this does not happen, stress happens in the body. And I will let Heather tell you a little bit more about how that impacted her.
I recently had H. pylori and Giardia, and the Giardia is a parasite infection that's really nasty that you get from typically contaminated water or somebody both not washing their hands after going to the bathroom. And so I was really sick this summer, vomiting all summer. And I learned a lot about the migrating motor complex because the Giardia really negatively impacts the migrating motor complex. So my that whole system shut down. Like things were not moving through my bowels, severe gas, bloating, um, SIBO kind of symptoms. And I've everything I know as a health coach has had to come into play to start to get my gut to heal post Giardia. And so the nervous system and the vagal nerve has played such an important role post the H. pylori and the Giardia for me. I'm needing to do vagal nerve tone exercises 4 times a day. And if I do not do those exercises, my body tells me I get more severe bloating and constipation. And if I do those exercises, all of that gets better. And it's a process. It takes actually a very long time post Giardia for that migrating motor complex to heal. So the nervous system is just such an important part to gut health issues, not just what I just got over. So I just want to make sure we hit on some facts about mold because it is an environmental toxin and it is something that most conventional doctors totally miss and can be playing a very negative role in affecting your gut health. Mold will wipe out the good bacteria in your gut and lead to dysbiosis. And a lot of people living in mold don't know they're living in mold. You can't see it, you can't smell it 70% of the time. About 50% of our homes have a history of water damage. And I really think the number is much, much higher. And 45 million homes in the US have unhealthy levels of mold. So if you have, I have a lot of clients who have Crohn's, colitis, constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, SIBO, SIFO, every single client I have seen mold and water damage was either a part of their history or their present that they were not aware of. So it's an important thing to consider when we're talking about issues related to the gut. So, a little bit of how this cycle of dysbiosis and dysfunction in the gut can sort of perpetuate itself. Toxins and bacteria and pathogens come into the gut, they inflame the gut, and then that leads to a gut barrier that is weakened, and that leads to you absorbing nutrition more poorly, and that leads to increased cravings for foods that aren't healthy, which leads to more damage in the gut, which can lead to more poor food choices and continues to be this vicious cycle that we really need to break. So, how do toxins reach the gut? There are basically four major ways. Toxins come in through us ingesting them through food or water. And Bobby sort of went over some major ways that we can be exposed to toxins in our food or water. We can also inhale toxins. I live right off a golf course. Never really thought about it. I love the scenery where I live, but they spray the golf course with pesticides. So if I go out on a walk on the golf course, which I do often, I can be inhaling those chemicals into my body. Skin, Bobby talked about putting skincare, hair care, products on our skin and how they get into the bloodstream in 26 seconds. So those toxins then go into circulation and eventually get into the gut. The liver plays a huge role in detoxing these toxins. It's our body's largest filter. And the liver with the gallbladder produce bile. And bile is this emulsifying agent to help us digest fat. When we eat, the liver and the gallbladder put out bile to create this beautiful balance and dance to help us with digestion. But the bile when we're very toxic gets very, very sluggish. And the bile carries out those toxins into the gut so that they can be pooped out of the body. So when that bile gets sluggish, we are not able to detox those toxins out as well. And it can cause a whole host of symptoms. So, how do these toxins affect the gut? Well, one, they act like an antibiotic on the gut, wiping out the good bacteria and leading to imbalances in the gut. And we talked about mold is a toxin that will just wipe out the good bacteria. And I just having H. pylori and having Giardia together totally wiped out the good stuff in my gut and have had to do a lot of things to bring the gut back online and to restore that balance. Toxins inflame the gut and they damage that intestinal lining and lead to leaky gut. If you think about that picture on the left, those tight junctures are really close together. And so those food particles and things stay in the gut where they should. But when leaky gut happens, those tight junctures sort of loosen up. If you think of like fingers spreading open or a door, an automatic door when you go into a store, like things are opening up and getting out into the bloodstream and then they're causing health issues, autoimmunity, inflammation, histamine reactions. Toxins also cause metabolic dysfunction. And metabolic dysfunction, usually people are struggling with their weight. And when you have that metabolic dysfunction, the gut is no longer going to be able to make its healing compounds or regulate your metabolism well or maintain a healthy gut pH. And when the gut pH gets too low, that makes you more open to more parasitic growth and bad bacteria overgrowing. And we don't want that. And then that leads to poor nutrient absorption and decreased energy. And then toxins lead to hormonal dysfunction. They disrupt our endocrine system, which controls our blood sugar, our appetite, how we respond to stress, and our neurotransmitters in the brain. So, this gut disruption can really impact so many things.
So you might be sitting here saying, okay, I know about toxins and where they come from, no, but we wanted to give you a couple tips to walk away with and how to reduce your toxic load. And I would say the number one thing that have shared with my clients right off the bat is filter your tap water the best way you can and afford. Um, and by eating organic as often as possible, especially eating the Dirty Dozen, it's important that you are trying to source food that has not been sprayed with glyphosate, and has a lot of preservatives on it, or like the apples that have a bunch of wax on it and things like that, the best as you can. And we suggest you check out an organization called ewg.org. They've got a lot of information on their website, and one is called the Dirty Dozen List, and they change it every year and they research it and they tell you the top 12 produce items that have the most glyphosate. It's the best way to say it, is the pesticide that they use. I'm sure there's others that really, like Heather had mentioned, is like an antibiotic in our gut. So it does go in and kill, unfortunately, the bacteria that's good in our gut. It's meant to kill the pesticides or the pests, but unfortunately, when it's sprayed on the fruit and the vegetables, it's going into us too. And then another one would be to avoid using plastic as much as possible, especially when you're in cooking or drinking or covering food, things like that. Really, there's so many other options that you could use out there. And then especially drinking out of plastic. Really swap your bottle. If you carry a water bottle around with you, swap it out for something that's more sustainable, like a stainless steel or a glass bottle. It's better for the environment, less plastic waste, and then you're also not getting exposed to the microplastics that are in a lot of the plastics that we're having. Because if you think about it, every time that plastic moves or you run something across it, there's little microscopic pieces of plastic that are getting into what we're eating and drinking. There is absolutely no way you are going to keep yourself from getting microplastics. It's just, I think they said we eat about a credit card a week in microplastics, and maybe even it's higher now, but at least you can start focusing on reducing plastic in your home.
Yeah. Another thing you can do is you can reduce or eliminate your use of man-made fragrances. Fragrance in any product is something you want to avoid because it is highly, highly toxic. So those of you who love like scented candles, or Glade, I don't even can't think because I don't use the stuff, but that makes your house smell good. Instead, think about like grabbing an essential oil or a candle that's scented with essential oils, or soaps that are scented with essential oils, because those scents are really, really toxic to your body. Also work on eliminating eating foods that are processed. The more you can eat homemade whole food and limit your use of processed foods, the more you're going to decrease your exposure to toxins. There are some foods in the supermarket that you can find that are, frozen and prepackaged, that sometimes if you look at the ingredients, there's no toxic additives and it's whole food. But a lot of times cooking things at home and preparing it at home, you're really decreasing your use of toxins, especially if you're not using like canned cream of mushroom soup and you're just making everything from scratch. So much better for your gut, so much better for your body. And lastly, just as you're ready and as you run out of a body care product or a makeup or a cleaning product, switch it out for a safer, non toxic product. I started over time making my own glass cleaner, my own countertop cleaner, just using water, a little dish soap, a little bit of vinegar. And if I wanted scent, I'd throw in some essential oils and I'd put them in, bottles that I would get, and I would label it what it was a cleaning product for. Even my toilet, I use baking soda and vinegar to clean the toilet. Super inexpensive to do, but as you're ready, try to start making some swaps to decrease your toxic load.
Yeah, I make my own cleaning products as well, Heather, and keep them in some brown glass bottles and each under each sink. And it's just so much easier because when you run out, you can just go make your own. It's super easy and much less expensive and less toxic. So you may be sitting here thinking, okay, I know that I'm exposed to toxins. I know that maybe my gut is not the greatest right now. I maybe have been having struggles with some of the symptoms we talked about earlier. Maybe you've had a long-standing skin issue, or you're a person as soon as you change your diet, you get constipated, or Maybe you're a person that gets sick and stays sick all winter and things like that. I want you to sit there and think, do I want to stay in this cycle of sickness, and in survival mode technically, and stay sick and sometimes miserable? Or would you really like to work on your gut health and have the feeling where you're releasing things that you don't want to have in your body? You're reviving your nervous system and your gut health and your overall health, and you're restoring all of that. So sit there and think about that, and maybe give yourself a gut score right now of where you think your gut health is at. You just personally think 1 to 10. If I gave myself a gut score, where would I be?
Is 10 good, Bobby?
Yeah, 10 is good. My gut is,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. If your gut's a 10, good for you. Um, so I want to talk to you really quick about investing in your long-term health. The true cost of ignoring your gut health. And you would be surprised how many people Heather and I coach and will say, well, how long have you had that issue when they bring it up? Or do you have this or do you have that? Or people that maybe have a constipation issue where they maybe only go once or twice or maybe 3 times a week or something like that. That's not normal. And by continuing on a path like that, where you have gut dysfunction, your quality of life and your future health are at risk and suffer. And you can actually have worsening symptoms over time. Like you can actually have, instead of just a little bit of eczema or a little bit of rosacea, you can have a lot of it and it can start to spread throughout, different parts of your body. Or you can have maybe a chronic condition turn into a chronic disease that you now have to medicate, or moves into maybe a second autoimmune condition, something like that. And then you've got the lost productivity and energy, and not being able to do the things that you want to do in your life that are vital to you, not being able to be social and go to parties and maybe go on walks with your friends or spend time away from your home long enough, especially if you have elimination issues and stuff like that. I spoke with somebody today that was going to come to the webinar, and she's like, oh my gosh, my friend just really can't go out anymore. She just doesn't feel comfortable because she's afraid she's going to have an accident. Um, Not to mention medical expenses. When you manage the symptoms over time, if you add up the amount of time you or money you're spending on managing, that definitely can add up over time, and along as also decreasing your quality of life and just worrying about it all the time. But the flip side of that is when you invest in your health and you spend the time that it's necessary, and it is a process. We're not sugarcoating it, that it's easy and you can just take a pill, but you're setting a foundation for your health, because your gut health is your second brain area, but it's also the foundation of what everything else is built off of in your health. And that's where your energy is going to increase. You're going to be able to have time to do the things you want to do because you've got the energy for it. You're going to use your time more wisely instead of being, maybe a person who has to take a lot of naps, or a person who just struggles to get going in the day or has to turn in early because their gut is bothering them. Um, it's also going to improve your mood. People that struggle with their gut health typically aren't very fun to be around because they're miserable. And mental clarity, I will tell you, when I was sick with mold and my gut was very, very, very compromised with mold, my mental clarity was terrible. I really felt very scared and worried. And by doing the regenerative approach and working on my gut health and getting out of mold and remediating and things like that, my mental clarity came back. Stronger immune system going into, like, the fall and the winter that we're going into, and having a good gut health and having the confidence that you've been taking care of yourself. It's going to give you a stronger immune system, and you're going to bounce back better from the insults that we just experienced just by being inside more and around people inside more in the winter. And then preventing future health issues by working on your gut health in your 30s, 40s, and 50s or 60s, you're really setting yourself up to have better health in your later years.
So, I want to talk a little bit about why a lot of other attempts to heal the gut don't work, and why other approaches don't work. And you really need a comprehensive approach to really restore the gut. A lot of other approaches focus only on what you eat. And I was sort of there. I had SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, when I was diagnosed with mold and SIRS. And my doctors just gave me antibiotics to kill the bacteria in my small intestine, and nothing improved. I was down to 10 foods, and I was put on a low FODMAP diet to help with the symptoms, but I still had SIBO. I didn't get better. Um, they focus on symptom management. You know, you're constipated, let's give you magnesium to go to the bathroom, but we want to address the root of why are you constipated, or why are you having frequent stool? Do you have a high pathogen load? Why do you have Crohn's? Why do you have colitis? I usually see it's because people have this overgrowth of pathogens in their gut that are causing those symptoms. A lot of other approaches always ignore environmental toxins. And if you don't address that piece, and that was part of why my SIBO wasn't getting better with my wonderful holistic doctor, we weren't addressing toxicity. And so those toxins were continuing to damage the gut. So you got to address the whole picture. And many other approaches have a one size fits all approach. You know, they're recommending one protocol for everybody. But the truth is, we're all unique in terms of what we need. They're lacking proper sequencing. There's an order, a correct order to do things. Um, and a lot of times there's no ongoing support when you're dealing with digestive issues and attempting to be in a program and heal. And the one thing that Bobbi has really, really taught me is the importance of the nervous system, and other approaches do not address the nervous system and how the nervous system, the role it plays in gut health. And as I shared, you know, the vagal nerve and just nervous system work really makes a difference in our gut being able to perform properly. So what our root cause reset offers is our solution addresses and looks to address the root causes of why somebody has Crohn's, colitis, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gas, whatever the label is. We work on comprehensively reducing the toxins that are coming into your body while helping your body to let go and drain out the toxins that don't belong there. We offer personalized support, one-on-one support. We do address nervous system dysfunction, and we have a strategic plan step by step to help you restore your gut. And then we offer ongoing guidance and support.
So the big question right now is, as you're sitting here, is are you really thinking that restoring your gut is a priority for you? Like, where are you on that scale? If you're saying earlier, hey, my gut health, I think personally is maybe a 2 or a 3, hopefully that puts your priority a little higher for your gut health, for your health and what the choices that you're going to be making. And if you're answering yes, that that is a priority for you, then we have a solution we wanted to share with you tonight at the end of this webinar. It's called the Root Cause Reset. It's a 6-week gut transformation program, and it's a virtual program. So it's online. You show up just like you did tonight, and you work with Heather and I. We will go through a PowerPoint. We will show you things, and it starts next Monday on the 13th. And it's at 7 p.m. Central, Eastern is 8 p.m. and 5 p.m. Pacific. And we're going to tell you a little bit about this program before we go into our Q&A, but we just wanted to share a little bit with you so that you understand. There is a framework. There's 6 modules, and it sounds like you're going back to school, but we make it fun because we start with the nervous system. As Heather mentioned, um, we shared with you the gut brain axis. The connection between your brain and your gut is huge. And if you think about it in our English language, we have a lot of words that or phrases that we already use that you don't ever think about, like, oh, I just felt that in my gut, then I shouldn't do that. Or I just had a gut feeling, or I just I got a stomach ache, or my stomach dropped when I heard that, or just everything revolves kind of around how your gut is feeling. And we work with people on the nervous system. The very first week we go through, and we will continue each week showing you nervous system techniques. We'll do them in class so that you get used to using your nervous system and getting reattached to it and comfortable with it. And you get to pick which exercises work for you because everybody's different. Heather likes maybe gargling, where I maybe like tapping. So it just depends on what you like to do. So that's the first module. And Heather will tell you
Module
about module two.
Module two is going to be on digestion. So, to help you understand just the whole process of digestion and things that can impair digestion, like low stomach acid and not enough digestive enzymes on board, and having motility that's slow, like that, the motor complex being impaired. All of those things we're going to go into in module two.
Module three, we are going to talk to you about inflammation, and you're going to learn about how to cool the fire within. And that's not just inflammation, like let's say your knee hurts, your elbow hurts. We're talking global inflammation, like chronic inflammation, brain inflammation, neurological inflammation. Inflammation, there's all different kinds, but when you cool the fires within and your body starts to calm down and things start to work better, that's when your gut actually comes back online because it's not working so hard to repair inflammation, and now it can restore your gut lining.
So, module four, we're going to talk about the microbiome and that ecosystem of pathogens and making sure that your microbiome isn't overloaded with pathogens, that there's a good balance in your microbiome.
Module five is the gut barrier. So Heather showed you that amazing picture of the gut lining where it was healthy gut lining and then it was leaky gut lining. And we're going to talk to you about how to restore the inner defense system. So working on that gut lining, what do we need to do? What do we need to take out? What do we need to put in? How do we close the front door from letting things into our body that we don't need? So the gut lining one's going to be really helpful to you, especially going forward after you are done with the program.
Yeah, and if you've had leaky gut or you've had H. pylori or any of those things, healing the gut lining is just so, so critical. Knowing how to do that because things happen. Like I never expected to get Giardia and H. pylori. I have still have no idea where I picked it up. And I've never had it before, and I never want to have it again. But I'm so thankful for the tools I had as a health coach to know how to support my body. Module six is going to be on detox and detox pathways. We're going to help teach you how to open up the drain so that toxins can leave the body and how to support those drainage pathways, the liver, the gallbladder, the lymph, the kidneys, and the bowels, and help you assess when those pathways need support. But we all, whether we have a gut issue or not, we all should be in a mode where our body is working properly and so that things that we're exposed to can leave the body. And a lot of times those detox pathways need to be flowing for toxins that come in to be able to leave through our urine, through our bowels, through our skin.
In our lungs too.
Yeah.
Um, and Heather mentioned in one of the previous slides the order of operations. And I think what happens a lot of times is that this program in particular follows an order of operations that makes it successful. Because if you do module six and try to do detox pathways before you have a regulated nervous system or even begin to work on that, you're going to struggle. You're going to have symptoms. So that's why this framework is really, really critical. So we've got different parts of our program we wanted to go over. You're going to be getting a program includes six comprehensive modules with step-by-step protocols. So that's 6 weeks. With each week is a PowerPoint. We'll explain it, all of that. You also get, which is really cool, a 45-minute health coaching call to customize your needs. And so you'll meet with Heather or I or both of us, depending on the situation, and we'll go through what's been going on with you, and we'll talk a little bit about how you can personalize the program, which is a great value for you because it's not just being in class with us, but it's spending time with us intensively with us. We also give you recipes, healthy gut recipes. It's not like a food program where you have to eat all the things that we tell you and give you and specific, but it's to help you be able to start eating healthier foods, knowing what recipes to make and eating whole foods and trying to get a lot of the preservatives and junk out of your diet.
So, we're also going to talk about some supplement recommendations based on what you're dealing with. Like, if you're having issues like I have with motility, what supplements help with motility? What things help to calm inflammation in the digestive tract? What helps bring up stomach acid? All of those, like little cheat sheets to help you based on what you're dealing with. There'll be weekly accountability check ins, one in the group when we meet online, but also we have a private Facebook group that's already been created. So in that group, we're going to be doing check-ins to see how people are doing, to hear what their wins are. I think learning in community is just so much more fun to know you're not alone in the struggles you're having, even if some of the people in the group are dealing with different digestive issues, we really can learn from each other. And then all the calls, all the trainings are going to be recorded. You'll have access to those. They will be emailed to you each week. So if you cannot make it live, you will get the recording. But I have to say, live is really fun because we're there to answer your questions, at the end of what we're covering each week. And there's homework and accountability built in to the program. So it's not like you just come and hear us share and then nothing happens between now and the next week. There's actually, you're going to get a handout with, hey, these are the recommended next steps of what we'd like you to incorporate. Um, some real results from real people, some testimonials of people who have worked with us. Dawn said about Bobbi that Bobbi goes above and beyond when it comes to providing helpful information, motivation, and support. Since starting to work with her, she has provided me with all the tools I need to meet all my health needs successfully. Her program was a great jumpstart for what I needed.
And Petra shared with us that Heather's guidance worked, and I'm feeling so much better. Heather was supportive every step of the way and extremely knowledgeable and caring.
So, the science behind why our program works, why this works. And these are the principles I use to heal my SIBO and the principles I use to get rid of H. pylori and Giardia. And these are the principles I'm using to continue to restore my gut after the H. pylori and Giardia. This is based on research, over 50,000 published studies on the gut microbiome and the proven connection between toxins and their impact in dysfunction in the gut. The protocols are scientifically supported, and we're going to give you tools to track, the progress that you're making.
So, the perfect candidate for this gut reset method that we're doing is someone who is tired of managing symptoms instead of healing. They're ready to address the root causes of why they've been struggling for so long. Um, a person who really is interested in the science-based approach and is going to be committed to really finding lasting change, not just change for a few months so that they fit into a dress for a special occasion or that they, maybe lose a few pounds before the holidays, but to actually feel good and have the changes last and value the comprehensive support and guidance. That is the thing I think with this program that it's really hard to make really clear to you is how much guidance and support you're going to be getting, which is great for somebody that is struggling for, for as long as some people may be in our group. This is not a program for somebody who wants a quick fix or a magic pill. We're just not that type of program. It's not designed that way. And it's not for someone who is not ready for a lifestyle change. You really do need to be at that place or get yourself to the place where you're really ready. And we can help you do that. And that it's not really for somebody who wants to just treat symptoms only. Like, tell me what you have that will make this go away. It's really more of an action-oriented lifestyle program. So this is the root cause reset. It's going to be starting on next Monday on October 13th. So we just wanted to remind you about that. And it's going to be the same time every week on Monday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
And again, here is our contact information. If you want to take a screenshot, if we can help you in any way, we're really thankful you were here tonight, and we really want to open it up to hear what kind of questions you have, whether it's about your own gut health or whether it's about our 6-week coaching program. This is our favorite part, is to hear your questions.
Uh,
What are
and
you struggling with?
I'm stopping the share and I'm going to bring back up the chat in case people have issues or have questions. Feel free to just type your question in the chat, or if you would like to come off mute, we would probably be happy, since it's such a small group, we'd be happy to do that too.
Nobody has any questions.
Mhm. How about this? How many people found something new to take away from this presentation? You can just put a one in the chat if you're not going to ask a question. You can just tell us. Or maybe you can just tell us what your biggest takeaway was.
Oh, hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
Um, it's Sharon.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey. Um, so when you say not drinking out of plastic, like plastic like water bottles you buy in the store too, like
Yeah.
especially
Ugh.
those. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they seem to keep making them out of plastic that you squeeze and it crinkles, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Right.
so we just kind of just direct people like as much as you can, especially when you're home. I mean, everybody, you're going to go through the airport, you're going to get plastic, right? It just they make you dump out all your water and things like that. But when you're at home, grab a good, nice water bottle, a Stanley, a Yeti, something like that, and just take that with you when you go places or travel. Um, yeah, it's just as much as you can, just stay away from drinking out of plastic and heating out of plastic and cooking, or like I threw away my plastic cutting boards because I thought, well, if you take a look at them, you're actually cutting, you know, your knife on them, and you look down and there's pieces of the cutting board that are kind of jarred up, and it's like, where did that plastic go? And it's probably in their food.
Yeah, and when you buy a plastic water bottle, a lot of times they're sitting right in storage somewhere. You don't know how long they've been sitting, if they've been sitting in heat. I know, like when I moved to Arizona, everybody would hand you like a water bottle wherever you went in a plastic water bottle, and it gets so hot out here. You just, I've learned, to carry water with me wherever I go, and I don't. People will offer you water out of a plastic bottle, and I won't take it anymore. I carry a stainless steel bottle with me.
Yeah.
Simple shift when you're ready, if
Yeah.
you're ready.
Yeah.
No, I use them every day. So
It is. I mean, it's a habit. Like we used to buy cases and cases of it when the kids were growing up in middle school and high school and stuff, and they got one in their lunch every day, right? Or they put it in their backpack. And it's a kind of a hard transition sometimes, but I will tell you, it will reduce your plastics, and it'd be great if there was some simple test where you could just do a blood test, but there probably is, but or like a simple test where you could find out like how much plastic you actually have floating in your system. But it would be a great way to just reduce your plastics, because the plastics really, they glom up your liver. They just slow everything down. They're actually an endocrine disruptor, so they actually act as, sometimes the body sees them as a hormone, and so it downregulates things that it's not supposed to, or it covers up a receptor on a cell. And so a lot of it is just taking the load down. We're never going to get rid of plastics out of our system, unfortunately. And that's why they're kind of also going on about plastic clothes. I mean, if you think about all of the yoga pants and things like that, I mean, how they're made out of really plastic type of fabrics. And so they're trying to get people to realize, you're every day you're putting on plastic clothing when you wear a lot of that stuff. So some of it is just one step at a time. Even Sharon, if you just got yourself a good water bottle and, got some filtered water, that would be a huge benefit.
I'm just chuckling because yeah, those every day, and then I love scented candles.
Yes.
Ah,
Well, you know what? There are scented candles out there. There are that are healthy, that are made from scented scents that are not man-made, meaning there's beeswax candles that have had essential oils used as the scent in them. They may not be as strong, and you may not get the sensual flavor from, 47 different things, like, but those, I will tell you, scented things can really impact people's microbiome.
Audrey asked, is it better to filter water through something like a Brita or putting a filter system directly on your faucet? Do you want to answer that or do you want
Okay,
me to?
so water is a touchy topic because there are so many different ways to filter your water, and I give it the good, better, best thing kind of answer. There's always going to be the simple Brita pitcher, something you can put on your refrigerator, simple things like that that really are charcoal filters that are just filtering out almost some taste, making it taste a little better. And then there's the high end, all the way up to the whole house filter. So my suggestion to you is go on, like, you can, depending on what you want to do. They say it's better to test your water so you know what's in it, so then you can buy the right filters for it. Because it's silly to buy the Mercedes-Benz when you don't necessarily need it. You maybe need, the Ford Explorer or something like that. So sometimes it's better just to test the water that you're drinking, unless you get a water system, like, um, or you get your water delivered, like, let's say by Culligan or something like that. Um, but testing your water is a great way, but there's a lot of companies out there that will help you figure out the best solution for you. You just need to find, like, there's waterdrop.com. There's lots of different places that can help you with water filtration, and it depends on your budget.
I have a reverse osmosis water system and I've had one for probably 20 years. And like the longer I live, the more we learn. And the reverse osmosis is supposed to take out about 50% of the toxins in the water. And we put minerals back in because reverse osmosis takes out the minerals. But I've been looking at doing distilled water because distilled water takes out all the toxins. And because we live in the desert and my husband will drink gallons and gallons of water because he works outside, I thought that's just a real simple way, so it's about deciding what fits your budget and what resonates with you, right? Because we're just trying to bring down the load in the body and the load of exposure on the body.
Yeah, we have reverse osmosis as well. And we do add water filter back in. Um, and we just really try not to use the tap water for things that we're going to be ingesting. So I will use the reverse osmosis to boil pasta or to make
Mhm.
tea or things like that. And they have really good products out there now that you can filter your water right at your sink. Ours is a tankless filtration system, which is great because for a long time we had a tank under the sink and it was pretty big. But um, it's kind of one of those things, you just got to spend the time and the energy to just investigate it and do what works for you. Because especially if you rent and you're not an owner, you're not going to want to put a hole in the countertop to put a spigot to do it. But if you own your place and you can install it, we've installed our own reverse osmosis systems and put them in. And but if you're not handy, then you need to find somebody to do that. So some of it is
Or
just,
some
figuring
people
out.
will do like a Berkey on the countertop, which I've never used, but I didn't know about Berkeys when I got the reverse osmosis. But if you don't want to have somebody install, so
Yep.
there is,
Yeah,
but
Berkey is
check out.
the gravity one. Yeah.
Right, and check out your local municipality and find out. There's a website and I can't think of it at the moment. You can actually find out like what your local
That's
municipality,
it.
what the water's like.
That's the one you dropped, Heather.
Oh,
ewg.org.
EWG. Okay,
You can go
so
into,
that's in the chat.
yep,
If you go up in the chat, ewg.org, you can find out your municipality, but you can also find out about Dirty Dozen and safe
yep.
skincare products, and it's a great website.
You put in your zip code and it'll tell you your city. Now, if you are unincorporated, you don't always get a whole lot of information, but it will tell you what's in your water, how it rates against everything else. And then that's also a way to know how to filter your water. What do I need versus somebody else? And because water filtration is different across the United States.
Good question.
Yeah. Yeah. What other questions? Anybody else have questions? Because we don't want to keep you guys hanging on. Well, we appreciate you guys coming. We would love it, absolutely love it if you, when you get this recording, if you have people you know have gut issues and need to hear this information or would like to hear this information, feel free to pass on our information to them. We are going to present this presentation again on Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time. So if you would want them to register, they can register themselves as well. And if they can't show up live on during work on Thursday, I'm sorry, I think I said Wednesday, Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, they can still register and they'll get their own replay and they'll be able to listen to this information. They'll be able to learn about our gut reset and just learn a little bit more about Heather and I. So thank you for coming. We appreciate you and make sure you follow us on social to keep up with us.
Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great night.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.